is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
Whether you love him or hate him, Bryce Harper is the best player in the game today. But would you rather have the best player on a good team or a good team made up of some of the game's best players? With Washington in town, it's a battle of glitz and glam versus grit and guts. The Nationals make headlines. The Cardinals make plays. A clash of the Titans this weekend from Busch, only on Fox Sports Midwest.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Nice to be back home. It's the first of three this weekend. The Washington Nationals and Bryce Harper are here to take on the Cardinals. And with Rick Horton and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. It was an early morning for the Cardinals, but always nice to be back at Busch.
It is nice to be home. The Cardinals actually had a pretty good road trip. Anytime you're better than 500, you'll take it, although it could have been a bit better. This is going to be an interesting homestand. You're playing the Nationals, best pitching staff in the National League. Phillies better than everybody thought, and the Pirates are always tough.
Looking forward to this one. Good matchup here tonight. It's our Budweiser What's on Tap. Steven Strasburg, a free agent to be. He's been lights out. Mike Leake looking for his first win as a St. Louis Cardinal. Leake, Strasburg, Nats and Cards coming up. Year-old Dusty Baker back managing again. He's with the Washington Nationals. Rick Horton, let's take a look at this matchup tonight.
Steven Strasburg will go for the Nationals in game one. He's always had electric stuff, the good fastball and the good curveball, but he's using his slider a bit more this season, and he's off to a 3-0 start. For the Cardinals, Mike Leake looking for his first victory as a Cardinal. He'll be caught by Eric Fryer here in game one of this series. Leake had a terrific spring training, off to a slow start, however, in 2016.
That's a look at your Hyundai pitching arsenals. Jeremy Hazelbaker will come off the bench tonight. Starting lineups. First pitch comes your way next. Brought to you by Bud Light. Raise 1-2 right now. By Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Look at Ballpark Village now inside Busch Stadium here in St. Louis. And along with Rick Horton and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 65 degrees. And a cool night here in the Gateway City as the Nationals make their lone visit to town. A look at their lineup with Michael Taylor, Anthony Rendon, and Bryce Harper, followed by Ryan Zimmerman. Daniel Murphy off to a great start. Jason Worth, Danny Espinosa, Jose Lobaton, and Steven Strasburg. Mike Leake gets the call for the Cardinals tonight, still looking for that elusive win #1, wearing the birds on the bat.
Going to be an interesting contrast of starting pitchers here tonight. Leake is a guy that likes contact. He wants ground balls. Strasburg, a swing and miss guy.
Leake historically in his career has been a slow starter. This is start number 33 in the month of April. His ERA is about 4.5, and then it goes down as the season moves forward. There's a high fly ball out to deep right field, going back. Piscotty at the wall, and it's gone. Solo home run, Michael Taylor. Not the way you want to start this series. 1-0 Washington.
Well, I said Mike Leake doesn't mind contact, but not that kind of contact. He's looking to get ground balls in the infield, and Taylor, who has power in that leadoff spot, is a guy who's struck out a lot and hasn't walked very often. So you don't think of him as a classic leadoff hitter, but he shows his raw power the other way. Good effort by Stephen Piscotty. Oh, so close.
The Nats had not scored in 22 innings coming into this game tonight. They were just swept by the Phillies. They had 13 hits in the 3 games and only 3 runs. Here's Anthony Rendon and a 1-0 from Mike Leake. And he falls behind again, which has been a problem at times. Rendon only hitting .229. And up and down this lineup, outside of Bryce Harper, outside of Daniel Murphy, not a lot of production for the Nats.
12th in the National League as far as batting average is concerned. Of course, there's more things to it, like power numbers.
And a ground ball hit to second. Jed Jerko makes the play.
But this offense is going to get better.
Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers for the Cardinals defense. Around the horn, Holiday in left, Grichuk in center, Piscotty is in right. Carpenter, Diaz, Jerko, Adams along the infield, and Eric Fryer getting the start behind the plate. The reigning MVP of the National League, Bryce Harper, leads her club in home runs with 9, which is tied with 3 other players for the top spot in the National League. He's got 24 RBIs and batting .314. And a strike on the outside corner. Outfield is deep for Harper, and the 0-1. Pulled foul.
You can get into some fun debates about who the best player in baseball is right now, but wherever you come from, whoever you think is the best player, Bryce Harper is certainly in the conversation. And I'd have to say right now he is the best player in MLB.
Yesterday, April 28th, the 4-year mark since he made his major league debut. Mike Trout also made his debut the same day. And you'd have to say, as their careers progress, they will always be compared to one another. So Bryce Harper really carrying the load right now offensively for this club.
And he does it with his legs too. The 5 stolen bases. This is not a team that runs a lot. Not like the Cardinals. Not much separation in terms of stolen bases and attempts.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Harper, the 4th youngest player to ever win the MVP. We will see Mike Trout in our next road trip. Let's turn to Rick's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, when you have the game's best player or one of them, it's always a key to the game. You have to find a way to control him. Doesn't mean he's not going to get some hits in this series, but try to keep away from the power numbers. A year ago, the Cardinals pitched him well. In fact, better than anybody. Ooh.
He had 25 plate appearances against the Cardinals last year, hit .267, but no home runs. Cardinals did walk him 9 times. As a matter of fact, Cardinals the only team that he faced that he did not homer against. Hit sharply towards the left side, and Harper is out number 2. Yadier Molina has reached base in 17 straight games, and with the long night of travel, it's a day off for Yadi.
He has the hitting streak going at 10, but you also look at what Eric Fryer has done offensively and defensively. He's done a nice job filling in for Yadi. Yadi has been as durable as any catcher in the National League. You've got to find spots for him.
Ground ball taken there by Jerko. Leake may have gotten a piece of it to slow it down. Michael Taylor, the home run. His 3rd this year. 1-0 Nationals. his 4th career leadoff homer, and it's 1-0 Washington. The Cardinals line up with Matt Carpenter, Stephen Piscotty, and Matt Holliday. Then Adams, Grichuk, and Jerko, Diaz, Fryer, and the pitcher batting 9th, Mike Leake. Steven Strasburg mentioned in the open he's a free agent to be.
When he came to the big leagues, I'm not sure we've had a pitcher in the last 20 years that had more attention on him and more expectations of being a Cy Young guy every year, Hall of Fame type stuff. And we've seen that for sure, but it hasn't been as consistent. But he's off to a good start this year. Mentioned that he's using his slider more, and the fastball still is dominating as ever. But he's up against a Cardinals offense that has been extremely good this year, Danny. A lot better than I thought they'd be.
Lead the majors in runs per game at over 6. Number 1 in slugging percentage, in the top 3 in on-base percentage and extra base hits. So any way you want to slice it, it's been a good start offensively for this club.
John Mabry deserves some credit for that. Derek May, the assistant hitting coach, has also worked with some of the young Cardinal guys. And you think about, there's Derek, you think about the spark, especially that Hazelbaker and Diaz have given to this team.
Here's an 0-2. The Cardinal players did not have to report to the ballpark till around 5 o'clock today, after arriving early this morning.
Probably experienced traffic for the first time. We normally get here about 12 or 1, right?
Absolutely.
Probably thinking, what are all these people doing on Highway 40?
What is going on here? Wait a minute, there's cars. Well, they talk about that at Wrigley Field being a concern. You know, when you leave to get to the ballpark in the morning, you're in traffic. You go home at night, you're in traffic.
Right.
And the 1-2 is hit down the left field line. Rendon giving chase, and it's out of play.
Dan, there may be 1,000 reasons why being a big leaguer is a great job. One of them is you're never in rush hour. May not be the top one, but it's in there.
It's a bonus, right?
It's a bonus.
Last 4 games, Carpenter's starting to pick it up in terms of his runs scored. Leads the club in walks with 17 and 3rd overall in that department in the National League. So here's a 1-2 pitch from Steven Strasburg to Matt Carpenter. Now time call.
That must be difficult to figure out for National League managers, because the shifts that we see against Carpenter are never the same. Sometimes it's 3 guys on the right side. Sometimes it's kind of straight up. They're not really sure how to play it.
I couldn't agree with you more when you were talking about the hype surrounding Steven Strasburg. I remember when he first came up, the game was televised nationally. The first pitch he ever threw in the big league was thrown out, sent to the Hall of Fame. Literally. The hype was just tremendous around him. The 2-2 is a base hit into right field. Good at bat by Carpenter. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
Carpenter has such good plate awareness. They try to get him on the inside corner, and it's out over the plate just a little bit, but that's the quick hands of Carpenter. By the way, Strasburg's first pitch, they threw out the ball because of his hype. My first pitch was thrown out as well. It actually went over the left field wall.
Welcome to the big leagues.
A fan got that one.
It's not in Cooperstown.
No. Somebody in San Francisco has that on their shelf somewhere.
Here's Stephen Piscotty coming off a very good road trip. Hit .406 on the trip and was 9 for 18 in the 4 games against the Diamondbacks. So much attention, and rightfully so, paid to Aledmys Diaz. And the battle at first base with Moss and Adams and Randall Grichuk. Coming off a good spring, but quietly Piscotty has had a very good first month of the season.
I think he's going to be that kind of player in his career. He's never going to be the limelight guy, I don't think. I mean, he could be. But I see him as just a steady performer. Guy that's going to hit close to 300. Get his share of home runs, play good defense. Seems comfortable in that second spot, doesn't he?
He does. Holiday is on deck. No balls, 2 strikes on Piscotty. Outfield is straight away. Steven Strasburg pitched at San Diego State. And his coach at the time, the great late Tony Gwynn.
Hard not to think of Tony when we were in San Diego every day at the ballpark.
The All-Star game this year in San Diego. They say it'll be a celebration of Mr. Padre. Well hit. Right field. Harper back in with room. By the way, a little different atmosphere here tonight compared to what we saw in Arizona. The Nationals' fewest errors in baseball. They've committed just 6. Worth in left, Taylor in center, Harper is in right. Rendon, Espinosa, Murphy and Zimmerman along the infield. Lobaton is behind the plate. Here's Holiday, a career .326 hitter against the Nationals.
Pitching and defense go together. We've talked about that for years. And when you look at this Nationals team, that's what you've got. The best pitching staff in the National League and the best defense.
And in this game, the best pitching going against statistically the best offense right now. We'll see if it stays that way throughout the season. As we all know, it ebbs and flows in Major League Baseball.
Well, John Mozeliak was saying before the game that he's not surprised at the offensive production of the Cardinals. And, you know, when asked if he was surprised about Diaz's start, he'd say, well, you know, I can't say I expected him to hit .470, but we certainly knew that he was going to be in the mix. And I would just say that the team was built, especially off the bench, to be more potent offensively. Defense has been an issue. The Cardinals are going to have to work on that and get better at it.
There's a look at the St. Louis native Max Scherzer. He will pitch against the Cardinals on Sunday. 2 no-hitters a year ago. And he's been one of the guys that has not lived up to the resume, if you will. The back of the baseball card.
Not yet.
Yet being the operative word. The 0-1 pitch. And Holiday rips it into left center field. Look at that baby. Off the wall, an absolute rocket. Carpenter being waved in. Relayed to the plate is offline. I want to see the exit velocity on that baby.
Oh, yeah. How about the stopwatch on how long it took to go from the bat of Matt Holliday to that left field wall? That was a missile. It was hit so hard that a better relay, and maybe Carpenter's out at the plate. The big bounce off the wall. Here's the relay. Strong arm Desmond, but up the first base line a bit.
I'd venture to say that that's the hardest hit ball that Holiday's had this year.
I'm going to say 104.5.
I'll go higher. I'd say 108, 109. Adams a base hit. Beats the shift. Here comes Holiday. And the Cardinals have the lead. It's 2-1 here in the first. Matt Adams is now 4 for 7 with 2 doubles and a home run against Steven Strasburg.
Matt Adams says, I've always hit the ball the other way. Teams shift on him all the time, but when he's right, he can do this. That should be a 6-3, but instead it's a base hit the other way. And a Cardinals lead. We saw games on the last road trip that we thought would be 1-0, 2-1 games when you look at the starters. Think about Greinke's game, Shelby Miller's game, yet Cardinals offense has found a way to get to some pretty good pitchers.
1 out and a runner at first. And you think about it too, Rick, the Cardinals offense is doing this without Colton Wong, who's not in the lineup again tonight. Grichuk is 0 for his last 11, hitting .203. Holiday not quite to the level that we've seen in the past. So the guys you expected to contribute aren't there yet, and the others have stepped up.
You take a snapshot at any point in the season, there will be 3 or 4 guys struggling. There'll be a few average guys, and then there'll be the guys carrying the team, and that changes. It ebbs and flows. And there'll be a time when Randal Grichuk is that guy that's carrying this team offensively.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Steven Strasburg coming into this start tonight. Back-to-back 10 strikeout games. 3 wins already. And facing the Cardinals for the first time since June 14th of 2014. Very short lead at first by Adams. The count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. First strikeout of the night for Steven Strasburg. Opposites in some ways, these two teams, the Nationals and the Cardinals. And as we've talked about, Washington has pitched very well through their first 21 games, this one being number 22. They lead all of baseball with a 2.35 ERA. Opponents only hitting .209 against them.
And only 6 errors, and you think about the left side of the infield, they're particularly good. Rendon and Espinosa, they both have good arms, plus arms, and good range.
Six of 6 first pitch strikes tonight for Steven Strasburg. Here's Jed Jerko. Much of the talk prior to the game tonight. Again, no Colton Wong in this lineup. Battled the flu on the road trip, dropped 7 pounds. The Cardinals will look at ways to try to get him right. The 1-1 to Jerko. Hit the other way, slicing. That ball is down into the corner. Adams will be held up at third. And Jed Jerko has his first double of 2016.
Well played in the right field corner by Bryce Harper. If that ball gets past him, Adams does score. With 2 outs, he's off. And that's not the fastest Cardinal, but he runs the bases well. Smart decision not to send him.
And now you have Aledmys Diaz looking for his 30th hit of the month. Leading the league in hitting at .446. The next closest, Martin Prado, at .381. And just to finish the conversation that you were talking about with John Mozeliak prior to the game, he was asked about Diaz, and he said it was really at the Arizona Fall League they started seeing the exit velocity, the hard hit balls off his bat. So is it surprising? Yeah, to an extent, but they did see a little bit of this. The fly ball lifted into right. Harper is there. The Cardinals with 4 hits in the bottom of the first. Carpenter scoring, and so does Holiday. It adds up to a 2-1 lead for Mike Matheny's club. Follow Cardinals baseball live with the MLB.com @bat app. It's the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Rick Horton, guess what? 104 miles per hour off the bat of Holiday. Is that what you said?
I said 104 point something. Yes.
Well, we round up.
Yeah.
You're slightly off. 103.
Yeah, but it felt like 104. It sounded like 104.
It did. There's Daniel Murphy off to a great start. And a fly ball lifted out to left to the aforementioned Matt Holliday for the first out. Let's see if Mike Leake can't settle in now with the lead of 2-1.
Throughout his career, he's been a guy that throws very few pitches per inning. That's really his thing. Doesn't get the high pitch count so he can get deep into games. He can throw 200 innings because he's only throwing 13, 14 pitches an inning as opposed to 18 or 19. Really not a big strikeout guy. He can get it when he needs it. Found in spring training watching him that his swingy delivery, and that's the best way I can describe it, is kind of swings through his motion, gives some deception. He's only 5'10". He's not a big guy. And a lot of times those guys, it's a lot easier to see the ball out of their hand. They're throwing on a flatter plane, but I think he hides the ball well.
0-2 on the 36-year-old Jason Worth, hitting just 185. He's had good numbers in his career, the best of anybody in this lineup against Mike Leake. 7 for 19. And the 0-2. First strikeout for Leake. Well, something that has happened this year with Mike Leake, not a lot of swings and misses. Not that he had a huge number prior to this season, but it is down this year.
I think he's okay with that for the most part. Again, depends on how hard that contact is. If you're getting ground balls, I think Greg Maddux was like that. And then when you have an opportunity, you're ahead 1-2 against a free swinger, then you try to strike him out then, but don't worry about the swings and misses so much early in the count if you're a guy like Mike Leake.
This is Danny Espinosa, the switch hitting shortstop. Takes over every day at the position after Ian Desmond 2 years ago turned down 7 years, $107 million. Then he turned down the qualifying offer and did not get a match of that in the open market. And he's hitting just above 200 with the Texas Rangers.
I'll tell you who I thought the Nats would really miss this year is Jordan Zimmerman, who's off to a good start with Detroit. I thought he was very underrated on this national staff. Just a flat-out winner.
There's a look at Dusty Baker, also one of the new faces for the Nationals. The 0-2. So gone Ian Desmond, Denard Span. You mentioned Jordan Zimmerman. Drew Storn was traded away. Jonathan Papelbon is their closer. And in steps Dusty Baker. 20 years of managerial experience.
Yeah, and 3-time manager of the year. He's been around a little bit.
19 years as a big leaguer, as a player. He's closing in on 1,700 career wins. Second among active managers, behind only Bruce Bochy.
What's always said about him, Dan, is that he is a player's manager. Players love to play for him.
It's tough to watch from the Nationals' perspective what happened at the tail end of their season. They had the confrontation with Harper and Papelbon. Matt Williams, many felt, kind of lost control of the clubhouse. This is a team that's got a world of talent. The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, backhanded nicely by Jerko. That's 4 ground ball outs through 2 innings for Mike Leake. Jimmy. Bottom of the second, we check in with Jim Hayes.
Yeah, John Mozeliak able to update the media on a number of the injured Cardinals, including Brian Pena, who's still recovering from left knee surgery. Brian told me he is getting closer, says he's been doing some light jogging, but tomorrow he'll run for the first time. He says it's the first time he'll really test that knee. He says if all goes well, they should be able to put together a realistic timetable for a possible return. He's been watching all the games on Fox Sports Midwest, and he told me two things that stand out about our broadcast. He loves a Danny Mac call, and he loves my suits. I think he was just being polite with the whole suit thing, though.
Well, we're happy to put him to sleep every night. How about some of the other guys, Jim, that are injured right now, like a Tommy Pham?
Pham is the closest. He's recovering from the oblique issue. Could be sent out on a rehab assignment as soon as next week. He's been running, lifting, big test tomorrow. He plans to take BP with the team. As for Johnny Peralta, he's got a thumb issue. He's been doing some light defensive drills. Hasn't hit yet, still a time away. And Tim Cooney, John Mozeliak told me, need a couple of weeks to figure out what's next for him.
All right, Jimmy, thanks. Nice suit tonight. Fryer flied out to right, now leaked to center. Well, Jim is a sharp-dressed sideline man.
Jim does a terrific job, but I do have to say, Dan, that you've known me a long time, and you know I'm always in a good mood. But I'm not a happy camper today.
Really?
I would say I'm sad today.
Pat Paris.
Pat Paris leaving, and he didn't ask my permission. A little bummed about that. He is an absolute professional, and he has taught me so many things in this game and this work, and we're going to miss Pat Paris.
We
big
certainly
time.
are.
He's up there taking a nap right now.
Working hard again. Get ready, Tucson. He likes to nap. Quick inning for Steven Strasburg. We are going to miss Pat Paris, no doubt about it. One of the great people in our business. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. And get Major League coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. We're at the top of the third. The first pitch slowly hit to the right side. Adams to Leak. Lobatone, the switch hitting catcher, is the first out. So after the home run, that's 7 in a row set down by Mike Leake. And Rick, you got to love seeing all these ground balls right now too.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of first ball swinging, I think, by the Nationals too, because a guy like Leake knows how to expand the strike zone. He's a lot of first pitch strike, try to get ahead, although he didn't in the first inning with a couple of hitters. That's typically what he does. So you get the strike, now you expand it a little bit. So perhaps the best pitch you have to hit is pitch number 1.
One ball, one strike. Nationals have some interesting decisions coming up on the business side. And trying to handle a roster and payroll. One of those decisions will be the man at the plate, Steven Strasburg. Nice play by Jerko. The scoop by Adams. Well, if you can't watch the games on TV like Brian Pena, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store, download the free Fox Sports Go app, log in, stream the Cardinals wherever you go.
You talked about the interesting decision that they will have with the potential free agent or the free agent to be Steven Strasburg. You may end up with a situation where the Nationals saved innings for somebody else. Early in his career, they didn't have him pitch in the playoffs to bank those innings.
There's another ground ball, gloved by Diaz, getting more confident defensively. 3 ground ball outs midway through 3. Birds on top. It's 2-1. Cardinals with a lead. No surprise to see the blue sweaters and the jerseys out. The Blues and Cardinals have really teamed up to support each other.
Absolutely.
Whether it be wearing the uniforms or the various promotional nights that they have.
And if you're from St. Louis, that color combination makes sense, doesn't it?
It does.
The red hat and the blue sweatshirt or whatever it might be, and this town loves their professional teams.
There's Stephen Piscotty. Piscotty flied to right his first time up. And I know we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, Rick. We're talking about the decision that they have on Steven Strasburg. If he would ever hit the open market, Bryce Harper, the money that he may command, scary. There are some that think it's not far-fetched that maybe the Dodgers or the Yankees, big market team, would dish out $500 million to him.
You become a large corporation when that happens, don't you?
He's a great player. There's no doubting that. He's an incredible talent. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 16 years old.
I think the competing factors in that would be looking around at other large contracts and what they sometimes do to your team long term in terms of tying up a lot of money and not being able to sign other players.
Inside the third base line and off the sidewall. Piscotty thinking too. And sliding in safely with his 6th double of the year. Looked to be a hanging breaking ball, and Piscotty puts himself in scoring position.
Very steady player right down the line. He really did have a good road trip. Did over 400. A lot of good at-bats.
Here's Holiday, who doubled off the wall in left center field. First time up. The first pitch to him.
One of the things that the Nationals are struggling with on their offensive side is when they get somebody at second base leading off an inning, they just are not moving them over at all. They are not able to advance runners and then drive them in, all the situational things that you need to do to score runs. I think the Cardinals have been pretty good at that this year.
The 0-1. Now 0-2, a fastball at 95. The RBI by Holiday back in the first was his 13th this year. His 8th double. And an 0-2 pitch with Piscotty at second base. Hit out of play.
But that's Holiday trying to hit the ball the other way. He's looking to drive the ball, and he does that well anyway, naturally. How weird is it to think about a Cardinals team leading the National League in slugging percentage and leading the league in errors? That just doesn't sound like Cardinal baseball, does it?
It really doesn't. Another 0-2 pitch. Outside. I see Whitey Herzog down in the front row, and that, to me, is Cardinal baseball in a lot of ways, with the way that his teams played great defense, as you well know. And not to say that Mike Matheny's club won't do that. And there's the Hall of Famer with his son, Bruce Sutter, in front of Whitey. One-two pitch, tied him up, and it's a strike on the inside corner. And strikeout number 2 for Steven Strasburg.
Well, that's Strasburg being smart. Holiday's trying to stay close a little more, hit the ball the other way, but he got tied up on that pitch on the inner half. Might not have been a strike, but a very good pitcher's pitch.
Now Matt Adams. He beat the shift the first time up. Single to left. That scored Holiday. Gave the Cardinals a 2-1 lead. You come to the ballpark in St. Louis, and there's Whitey, Hall of Famer. There's Bruce, Hall of Famer.
Be nice to have a seat in one of those rows, wouldn't it? Have a lot to talk about.
Get some autographs. Here's the 0-1. Now 0-2.
Last time we saw Whitey, he was talking about the home runs this year and thinking, I wonder if the ball's juiced a bit.
After watching the series in Arizona, I'm coming away saying yes. The ball was just jumping off the bat. Here's an 0-2 pitch to Adams. 2 starts in a row for Matt, trying to get on track, get some traction in terms of at-bats. It's been part of this bench of the Cardinals that's been historic, the way that they've started this season. The 1-2 hits it the other way, and that slices foul out of play. Cardinals Hall of Fame induction class has been selected. Join the Cardinals and Edward Jones in congratulating Sam Braden, Terry Moore, Joe Torre, and Chris Carpenter at the 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. That's August 27th at Fox Sports Live right across the street at Ballpark Village. Learn more at cardinals.com/Hall of Fame. Congratulations to those 4.
Another great class, and really just a perfect thing for Cardinal baseball to have a Hall of Fame like that. And we've had so much fun in the voting and speculating who might be in the next class, but there's so many great Cardinals to choose from. I like the way it's set up, where you have a organizational choice, you have kind of a choice from Cardinal history as well as the fan voting. I think it's really done well.
And a strikeout? No. Adams just got a piece. So you have your fan vote to select 2, and that was Torre and Carpenter. Braden, the owner's pick, and then your blue ribbon panel, if you will, the experts.
Braden, by the way, for people that don't know much about him, was an owner.
Right.
He had a great partnership with Branch Rickey, and he brought 9 pennants, 6 World Series. Terry Moore, terrific player. Joe Torre, we know as a player and a manager both, and of course Chris Carpenter, as competitive as you're going to get.
Adams with a fly ball down the right field line. Harper over and makes the catch. Braden, an interesting aspect of what he was able to do. He elevated Rogers Hornsby to a player manager, and then that allowed Branch Rickey to go from being a manager to the front office, and obviously was terrific in starting and running farm systems. And Braden also moved the Cardinals into Sportsman's Park, and they took the area where they previously played and sold that off, and were able to pay off debts.
He really pioneered that role of being a general manager. What does that mean, and how does that work in baseball? And that role, of course, is critical now in terms of making deals and trades, and the owner kind of backs out of that and lets somebody run the day-to-day operations. And Branch Rickey is one of the game's greats as far as that's concerned.
There's Randall Grichuk, struck out his first time up. And a ground ball hit to the right side. A race to the bag. Strasburg is there. Good feed by Ryan Zimmerman. We played 3. It's 2-1. Cardinals on top. 30,000 fans ages 16 and older collect their very own wearable 1946 World Championship replica ring. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. Sam Braden, the president and owner of the club.
And one of the new inductees into the Cardinals Hall of Fame. 1920 to 1947, when he took over as the Cardinals owner, it was a franchise that was not used to winning. So he really pioneered the Cardinals into being a championship caliber ball club.
And a base hit into right. .570 winning percentage. Great to see that Chris Carpenter gets into the Hall of Fame. And one of the gentlemen that is instrumental in bringing him to St. Louis, the Cardinals manager Mike Matheny. Pat Henkin had talked to him about coming here, and Woody Williams, he would be the perfect fit. He was injured at the time. They took a chance on him, and boy, did it pay off. There's Bryce Harper, grounded out to short. First pitch is taken for a ball.
They took a real chance with Carpenter because they signed him knowing that for a year he couldn't pitch. And we would see him in the Cardinals dugout from time to time and think, who is this guy?
Right. Well, we found out in a hurry, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
So good in postseason play, the Cy Young Award winner of 2005. There's a 1-0 pitch to Harper. Into shallow right, and backing up Jed Jerko to make the catch. One away. Harper is 0 for 2.
Control Harper. That's what we talked about as one of our keys. And he's able to control him with this at bat by jamming him. See a perfect example there of Harper seeing that that ball's in, and he tried to open up a little bit so he could yank that ball down the right field line, but he was just a tad late on it. So he did get jammed. And that's a nice out for Mike Leake anytime you can get through Bryce Harper.
And now it's Ryan Zimmerman. One out, runner at first base. Quick move and almost got Rendon. Zimmerman coming off career lows in average and on-base percentage last year.
The move from third base to first base was inevitable in the career of Zimmerman, who developed an issue throwing the baseball. He couldn't get his arm up, couldn't make a solid throw from third, and that decision was made a lot easier by the guy taking a lead off of first base, Rendon. He's a very good player. His numbers aren't good right now, but eventually they will be.
Remember, Rendon was at second base for a while. Zimmerman, though, because of the throwing issues, shoulder issues, had to shift from third. So you clearly want to keep this bat in the lineup. He's a terrific hitter. Leake wants a ground ball and a double play. That's tapped foul. 1 point set down 9 in a row after a leadoff homer by Michael Taylor. In the third, it was a 5-pitch inning. And he has a man at first and one out here in the top of inning number 4. Outside of Bryce Harper and Daniel Murphy, the rest of this Nationals lineup collectively hitting just .205. That's it. Runner goes. Throw by Fryer. He is in time. I didn't think he had any shot. Rendon thought he was safe. And I'm sure they're going to take a hard look at this.
I thought he might have beaten the throw to the bag, but he may have popped off the bag too. Dusty Baker's at least thinking about it and getting some feedback, but I thought he got to the bag before the throw did. But is he still on the base? Yeah, he is. Boy, that's very close. Did what players are learning to do. They start to reach out one hand, then they pull it back. The left hand's out like he's going to go there, then he pulls it back and slides in with the right hand. I think he's safe.
I do too.
He thinks he's safe.
Unless the body came off the bag ever so slightly here, but it doesn't look to be the case.
Yeah, he's safe. Regardless, a good throw by Eric Fryer.
Sure was. Despite their struggles offensively, the Nationals have the second most wins in the league behind Chicago. Washington with 14. But they played the easiest schedule in terms of the combined winning percentages of their opponents. And they're going to get tested on this trip. They've got the Cardinals, then the world champion Kansas City Royals, then they head to Wrigley Field.
They're going to get tested in their division by the Mets, for sure. Not really sure what kind of team Miami's going to be, and Miami certainly had a big blow yesterday, finding out that D. Gordon was suspended.
80-game suspension, and the call is overturned, so he is safe at second base. And for Rendon, it's his first steal of the year. Lee continues to throw to stay loose. Another look, and he gets that right hand in there. But the big news around Major League Baseball was D. Gordon, the batting champion last year, and he is going to miss 80 games. Ironically, the first game he could come back in is against the St. Louis Cardinals. That is in late July. So Zimmerman with a runner at second base. One out and a count of 3 balls and 1 strike. 3-2. First plate appearance for the Nationals with a man in scoring position. They shade him the opposite way, and here's a 3-2 pitch to Zimmerman. Taken low. First walk handed out by Mike Leake.
You mentioned it. Murphy's off to a good start offensively. A lot of doubles. He and Harper have really carried this offense. Cardinals play him to pull on the infield, but still hoping for that double play.
Nice play by Fryer to keep that in front.
Wow.
Well, he's known for his defense, not his offense, and Cardinals got an extended look at him in spring training when Molina was missing time recovering from surgery.
We've talked about it before, but same high school as Mike Matheny, same youth coach that taught them advanced catching techniques at a young age. Shows.
Here's a 1-0 pitch, and there's your ground ball. It's hit into right. Piscotty charging hard. Throw to the plate is cut off. And a run scores. That's Rendon, and this game is tied at 2. RBI number 10 for Daniel Murphy.
Well, he does find the hole. Rendon, he runs well. The head first slide, but a good play by Matt Adams on the throw from right field, and he keeps Murphy at first base to keep the double play in order.
Murphy is now 5 hits shy in his career of 1,000. Here's Jason Worth, who struck out back in the second inning. And a fly ball lifted down the right field line. That'll find the seats and out of play. Another big crowd to open up this homestand and weekend series here at Busch Stadium against the Nationals. So they've scored 2 tonight. And they were coming off back-to-back shutouts at the hands of the Phillies. First time they've been shut out at home since the Dodgers did that to them back in 2007. And the 0-1 is lifted out to right. Piscotty will make the catch. Runner tags from third, and the Nationals back on top by a run. It's 3-2. RBI number 9 for Jason Worth.
Daniel Murphy's been a part of this inning. His base hit drove in the tying run. Talked about him having a good season, and here's something. Him giving signs to the third base coach. How about that? I guess there's an answer in there somewhat to what the third base coach may be relaying to him. That's Bob Henley. Davey Lopes, the first base coach. Boy, he was such a good base runner, base stealer, solid player for the Dodgers. You talk about his ability to teach base running is through the roof. Not surprising.
Danny Espinosa grounded out to second. First time up. And there's strike one. That is Danny Espinosa. That picture taken in spring training. Got off to a start of around 170, so the beard is gone. Got to change something up.
It's a lot of work out the window, isn't it?
Yeah. That's months of work.
Yeah, I would think so, at least.
The Nationals finished last year at 83-79, second in the East, 7 games back of the Mets. And remember, at this time a season ago, they were the consensus pick to win the division. Many felt win the World Series. They crashed though in August, basically done by the second week of September. Here's a 1-1 pitch. So they fired Matt Williams. They bring in Dusty Baker. 3-year deal for second baseman Daniel Murphy. They tried to trade for Brandon Phillips. He rejected that deal, 5- and 10-year player. So he said no, wanted to stay with the Reds. They even tried to sign Jason Hayward. Big offer for him, nearly $200 million. The 1-2 is hit out of play.
I think the Cardinals starting pitching has a better upside than what we've seen through the first 23 games of the season. With Leake and Wainwright, Martinez, Waka, Garcia. Expectations very high with those guys. You know you're missing Lance Lynn for a year, and he's not an easy guy to replace. And John Lackey, of course, is now a Cub. But the starting staff has been good. I think they can be better. Michael Waka, by the way, was very good despite the loss in Phoenix.
He was great.
Couple
and
of
the
bad
bullpen has been lights out.
Really just a couple of bad pitches for Waka. The difference between all zeros and the loss that he had to endure. But Adam Wainwright picked up his first victory on the road trip.
The Cardinals pitching coach Derek Lilliquist loves the bullpen, knows these starters can be a little bit better. Another quick move, and Murphy shaking his head and back in safely.
And saying that they could be a little bit better, to me, is not insulting them, it's complimenting them.
Here's a 1-2 to Danny Espinosa. Hit out of play. The idea when the Cardinals signed Mike Leake, he would be a competitor, which he is, battles, but innings eater. A lot of innings from Mike Leake. The 1-2 is hit out to deep right field. Piscotty is back, and it's gone. Second home run for the Nationals tonight, and the first of the year for Danny Espinosa. Very good at bat. Fought off a bunch of 2-strike pitches and knocks it out of the ballpark for a 2-run shot.
He looked a little off balance to me on that swing. A little bit of front foot action. It's an off-speed pitch. He's out front just a little bit. Not a one-handed swing, but the bat grip comes off with the left hand pretty quickly. I think that's another example of the ball flying out of the ballpark, and we've seen a lot of that this year. In my mind, I don't believe that's a home run. I can't prove that. It just doesn't feel like that would have been a home run a year ago.
How about the one, the first one hit last night by Chris Herman, the backup catcher?
Same kind of thing, even more pronounced off his front foot.
Jerko makes the play. The Nationals put up 4 runs in the top of the 4th, highlighted by a 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run homer. Danny Espinosa. 5-2 Washington. Home run of the season and a 4-run top of the 4th, and Washington now with a 5-2 lead as we check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, some more on Tommy Pham, who may be set to go out on a rehab assignment shortly. He told me he's been lifting, running. Tomorrow he'll take BP with the team for the first time. He told me that's a huge next step. Pham says the toughest part of being injured, and he's had some experience with it, not being able to help your team, working within your rehab guidelines and timetables when you really want to push it. And he says people forget what you can do on a baseball field. By the way, Tommy Pham also told me he loves Ricky Horton. I made that up, but I had to get Ricky in there.
It's really nice of the cat, isn't it?
That was, hey, it doesn't even have to be true, Jim. It just feels good. Thank you.
Wow. Well, what we do for a living, we just kind of make it up as we go anyway.
Of course. So of course.
Might as well do that too.
Well, I must say I love Tommy Pham as a player, and that's a big miss when he got hurt opening day. Think about the frustration of that. You ground out, you're 0 for 1, and then you're out.
After he made it through a healthy spring.
I know.
And it's always been so many different types of ailments for Tommy Pham. And it's a leadoff walk. Arcia in the driver's seat, Dusty Baker, as we take a look at the Nationals manager. A little closer look at him. San Francisco, Chicago, Cincinnati. What he's done against St. Louis. And he's managed some of the biggest stars in recent memory. Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, now Bryce Harper. There's an art to that, is there not?
Yes, there is. Superstars on a team are just different. When the media goes to talk to the team after a game, there are going to be 15 people at Barry Bonds' locker, and there'll be 15 other players talking to nobody, which is fine. But you understand that the level of scrutiny, the level of expectations, the level of pressure, all of that is much higher on the superstars, which I get it. They get paid for it. But a manager has to understand that and help them through it.
Diaz lines it to center field. Boy, that ball was smoked.
And Dusty was a pretty good player himself. I think that probably helps him.
Instant credibility with your players.
Oh, yeah.
If you were to define what a player's manager is, and that's what you always hear about Dusty Baker, how would you define it?
I think empathy is a big word. I think it's an empathy, not in a touchy-feely way, if I could say it that way, that you understand what the players go through, and it's very clear to the player immediately that your manager gets you. It doesn't mean they agree with you, doesn't mean they play you every time you want, doesn't mean they let you run the show, doesn't mean any of that. But it means I've got an understanding of what you're going through, whether it's a positive time or a negative time, and I'm going to help you through that. I mean, I think empathy is a big word.
Some fun showdowns with Dusty Baker. I think of Kenny Lofton back in the playoffs of the early 2000s when he was with San Francisco, and then he and Tony came out shouting at each other in Chicago.
That's my favorite.
Well, you had Johnny Cueto too. That Reds brawl, famous brawl between the two teams.
And that one's not my favorite because of the end result.
I would say it might be my favorite just because when you have a chance to see a grown man have to crawl through the legs of another one, like Jeff Suppan did that night through the scrum and the massive humanity, and all of a sudden there's Jeff Suppan on all fours trying to crawl out of it. I think it's one of the most funny shots I've ever seen.
Unfortunately, not so funny for Jason LaRue.
No. Jeff Suppan will be here next week in our celebration of the 06 team. So how would you classify Whitey? Players manager?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Whitey was not the great player himself, but he played a long time, played in the big leagues, and I would classify him as the type of manager that wanted a relaxed, confident, professional player. And as long as you were those things, you could play for Whitey. Didn't really want to make you uptight with anything that he would say or do. Didn't like team meetings. Never had a meeting last more than 5 minutes that I can remember.
There's Bruce Sutter in the front. Bruce Sutter, 188 saves, going 1 inning plus. Now think about that in today's day and age. Last year, all told, there was 105 of those total. One year he had 32 of them. As Fryer picks up a base hit out to left field. Just to finish the thought on Bruce Sutter, talking with him at fantasy camp this year, I said, what was it like pitching for Whitey? He said, you always knew where you stood. But the great thing was he taught me about the game, because the next day we would meet at 7 in the morning and go fishing every day.
They would.
Liverwurst sandwiches, maybe an adult beverage, and a chance to fish. Maybe the adult beverage in the morning. Just maybe.
I did that part I didn't know.
Two of the greats, man.
But that's part of the relaxed atmosphere that he brought to the clubhouse. Now, Tony La Russa, really polar opposite, but very successful in a different style of creating pressure. He wanted everybody to feel pressure every day.
One out, and a high chopper off the bat of Leake. Out at second, the turn, and Leake gets down the line.
I think the Nats were a little slow on that turn. I'm not sure they understood how quick Mike Leake was.
So much talk about one of the new rules in the game. And this is the slide into second base. Remember, by the way, Daniel Murphy was converted to a second baseman, had his knee tore up in the minor leagues on a play just like that. That was a legal slide.
And there is a lot of ambiguity about where legal becomes illegal.
I'm not so sure I'm a big fan of this new rule.
Well, big fan of guys not getting hurt in the middle of the infield.
Agreed.
That's the intention.
One swing of the bat and this game could be tied. Here is Matt Carpenter. Carpenter once again one of the top hitters with runners in scoring position. Scored a run back in the first. He singled to right and also has grounded out. Showing bunt. Leake is off the bag and the Cardinals catch a break.
Wow.
Showing bunt with 2 outs.
That was an odd play right there. Carpenter believing that he could get a bunt down because Rendon's playing so far off the bag on a shift that he could pick up an RBI, and for some reason Leake either thought that he bunted the ball fair and took off, or not really sure what he was thinking, but he could have been out. Should have been out. I think Matt Carpenter's thinking easy RBI if I just get the bunt down. Just didn't happen.
1 ball, 1 strike on Carpenter. 5-2 Washington as Strasburg steps off the pitching rubber. Cardinals have out hit the Nationals 6-4 in this game.
Watch this game long enough, you'll see things that make you scratch your head.
Would that be one of them?
Yeah, and speaking of scratching your head, that was always Whitey's sign that something wasn't going well. He'd take his cap off and he'd start scratching his head, and you'd think, okay, Whitey just wishes he was somewhere else right now because we're not playing very well.
Here's Whitey, great manager.
He
8
watches
years as a player,
and he watches intently. He knows what's going on.
And a 1-1 pitch to Carpenter. 1-2. Take a look at our Chevy Fox tracks.
There's the explosive fastball of Strasburg. When I say explosive, when he came to the big leagues 2010, there was nobody throwing like him. Now every team's got 3 guys in their bullpen doing that. I wonder if that's taken some of the luster off of Strasburg.
Maybe so. Plus he got hurt.
But teams are having to figure out how to gear up for 98 all the time.
Here's a 1-2 pitch, and Carpenter strikes out. Elevated that pitch. Strikeout number 3. The Cardinals strand 2, and we head to inning number 5. All right, Pat, thank you. 5-2 Nationals. As we move to inning number 5, Mike Leake back to work. And Steven Strasburg will lead it off, followed by Michael Taylor and Anthony Rendon. The 10 years here at Busch Stadium, the Cardinals have matched up with the Nationals 30 times, and they've won 24 of those 30 games.
I was surprised to see that. Most years, the Nationals have been pretty competitive.
Here's Diaz, and he makes the play. So Strasburg is the first out. And take it even a step further, the Cardinals are 15-4 the last 19 against Washington.
There's the numbers.
See the Orioles,
natural rivals,
interleague play. Here's Taylor, and he looks at a ball.
You mentioned it earlier, Dan, but I want to agree with it and expand on it a little bit. The defense of Aledmys Diaz improving and getting smoother at that shortstop position. He doesn't seem to be rushing things, but yet he's quick enough. And to me, it seems like his legs are in better connection with his upper body, not so clunky or clumsy's too big a word, but he just seemed not as smooth as he does now. And I just think that's work, and it's being comfortable, repetition. We know what he's done with the bat, but it's nice to see him playing better defensively.
David Bell, Bill Miller have worked with him prior to many of these games, especially here at home. They've told him, let it fly. You know, if you get that ball and it's hard to hit, you think you've got time, you do, but have a sense of urgency and purpose with the throw.
John Mozeliak was asked today if he felt like the team missed Jose Oquendo and would love to have him around. Of course, you love Jose to be able to work with a guy like Diaz, but what Mo said, and I think rightly so, is he didn't want to be insulting to the coaches right now.
Diaz gets that liner.
He said, you've got professional guys working with him on a day-to-day basis. Yes, we love Jose and would love to see him back helping us out. He's working with, by the way, the extended spring guys down in Jupiter now. No trouble handling that line drive.
Don't you think too, Rick, it's also nerves, and when you're hitting close to 500, everything is coming a little easier for him. He can relax. You know, if you're not an established player, the pressure's on. Not to say that an established player doesn't feel pressure too, but it's a different way.
He's not established, but he has earned playing time right now.
Oh, I'd say so.
and that's what it's all about, and that's the conversation going on right now about Colton Wong and Jerko and really anybody. You earn your playing time.
2 balls and no strikes on Anthony Rendon. A year ago, dealt with knee issues, oblique, quadriceps. Two balls and 1 strike. Took something off that pitch. 2-2. Leake has struck out 1 tonight. Has walked a man back in that 4-run 4th inning for Washington. The 2-2 is hit down the right field line. It is slicing foul.
I really thought this was a good time to have Yachty have the off day for a number of reasons. One, the long flight the Cardinals had back from the West Coast, and if you're going to give him a day off, that's a good time to do it. But even Leake struggling out of the box, maybe have a different catcher, just try something different, just to see if there's not some maybe new way of attacking hitters. So thought maybe Mike Leake might respond to that, but hasn't been a good start for him here against the Nats.
And a strikeout of Rendon. His second of the night coming up in the bottom of the fifth. Piscotty, Holiday, Adams, and Steven coming off a great road trip. One of the top young players in the game leads it off. Nationals with a lead of 5-2. There's Steven Piscotty. And a breaking ball. Drops in for strike one. Piscotty doubled inside the third base line back in the third and also flied out to right. And the 0-1. Make it 0-2. Well, you mentioned earlier, Rick, that Pat Paris is probably sleeping. Let's hope he's not. We've got something special for him coming up.
I'll bet he's not.
Well, you're the one that said it. You work with him all the time.
I just don't agree with myself.
A strikeout of Steven Piscotty, and let's find Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Yeah, it's Pat's last night after a long productive career at Fox Sports Midwest. So the Cardinals put this together. Ryan Bartow, the director of public relations, got the Cardinals to put a Pat Paris jersey together. All the players signed it. So Pat means a lot to us, but obviously he touched the Cardinals, the players, the organization as well. And Pat, I'm going to be running this over to you shortly. And when I say I'm going to be running it over, I mean I'm going to hand it off for someone else to bring it to you. But we're going to miss you, pal.
Good stuff. Very, very classy act by the Cardinals.
16 years of service, and in 2016, that's the significance of the number and all the Cardinals signing it. And they really, of course, enjoyed the opportunity to express their appreciation for tremendous work here on Fox Sports Midwest.
And he's not sleeping. I think we should try to, do something at the post-game show. Maybe have a Ron Burgundy moment. Put something in his teleprompter. Let's go out with a bang.
Let's not get him in trouble. He's staying in the business. Going to be a news anchor in Tucson, Arizona.
That's taken low, and it's 3-1.
He'll be great at that.
Just slide in a couple of words, no big deal. A 3-1 pitch to Holiday. Holiday doubled off the wall, picked up an RBI back in the first. Also scored a run and struck out with a man at second base in the third. Phil Nichols almost got a souvenir. A cameraman roaming the stadium tonight. The 3-2 pitch. Down the right field line and out of play. Saw a fan in an Anthony Rizzo jersey down there in that right field line. I'm sure tonight's been a real pleasant evening for him.
Is he lost?
Is that his son with him, I guess? Poor kid. 3-2.
You know that old show, Father Knows Best? Well, not always. That young man will learn that someday if he doesn't know it already.
What's it been? I mean, you've grown up around here as a Cardinal fan. There's nobody within a 25-year difference that hasn't experienced a championship here in town. 3-2. Ripped again by Holiday. And a one-out base hit. Full day of baseball tomorrow on Fox Sports Midwest and FS1. Here on Fox Sports Midwest, the Cardinals continue their series with the Nats. Coverage starts at 12:30. Then on FS1, Giants and Mets. Baseball tomorrow on the Fox family all over the place. Here's Adams. A base hit, beat the shift back in the first inning, picked up an RBI. Just his fourth this year. When Steven Strasburg gets 5 or more runs of support, Rick, it's happened 34 times. He's 29-0. Tonight it's 5-2.
So you say the Cardinals have a chance?
That's what I'm saying. Ray, thanks for breaking that down and reading right on through it. Chevy Fox tracks, and let's see if these two were not on the same page.
Well, you're looking for a breaking pitch and you get one of those, you box it. Barely able to catch that ball. How hard do you think that last line drive was, by the way, off of Holiday's bet?
You have said in a very nice note to me 102.936.
What do you
actually
think?
was 105.2 miles per hour off the bat. You're close again, though. It's amazing how you're able to do that.
He's turning around that Strasburg fastball, though, isn't he?
The 1-2 pitch. Strikeout number 5. Sunday, May 8th, in honor of Mother's Day. 30,000 fans ages 16 and older take home a Cardinals Performance t-shirt with a pink accent colors, courtesy of Power of the Pink. For more information and tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions. Two outs. Here's Randall Grichuk. It is pullover night this evening, and the fans need it. It's a cool evening here at the ballpark.
Somebody must have checked the almanac.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Grichuk.
Grichuk 0 for his last 13, has not had a good at bat here tonight. He has been susceptible to the off-speed pitch, and he's getting a steady diet of off-speed pitches. And the way you change that is you just start making contact with it, hit the ball hard the other way.
Strasburg may have gotten away with that off-speed pitch.
Well, and that's how you deter that pitch only. It's hard to throw. Frankly, it's hard to throw 3 or 4 good breaking pitches in the same at bat to a hitter. You're bound to hang one. And so if Grichuk can at the very least handle the bad one or the mediocre breaking pitch, it'll keep guys from just staying there, and that will yield to more fastball.
One and two the count. Jim had all our injury updates earlier in the game. There's another one on Mitch Harris, who has been slowed. We'll get a reevaluation on Monday, but dealing with an elbow issue.
Really, the MRI was clean, but the pain's still there, so they're trying to figure out what might be the cause of it. He says he's having a hard time finishing his pitches, according to John Mozeliak.
2-2. And Grichuk strikes out. Strasburg strikes out the side here in inning number 5. Back in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. Here's Bryce Harper.
Was that a montage? What was that? What do we call that in this business?
Well, Rick.
Just want to get the right word, because whatever it was terrific.
A beautiful video package. Harper hits it to first. Adams leaked to the bag, and they get Bryce Harper. Nice play by Matt Adams.
Matt Adams has the best hands of all the Cardinal first basemen, and a good flip. And I wonder whether Leake actually got the bag there.
That's what Harper was
yes, he did.
claiming.
So our key to the game was controlling Bryce Harper, yet the Cardinals are still down 5-2. I guess by controlling him, they've stayed in this game. Could be a lot worse.
Leake is due up fourth for the Cardinals, looking ahead to the bottom of the 6th. Pitch count only at 72. The 0-1-2 Ryan Zimmerman. And it's 0-2. Pittsburgh posts a victory tonight over Cincinnati 4-1. The 0-2 pitch is in the dirt. Zimmerman has walked, scored a run in the 4th, and grounded out to second. Chicago defeated Atlanta 6-1. That is going to be one long year with the Atlanta Braves. You know, the idea was that they'd move into their new ballpark next year in Cobb County and be competitive. Doesn't seem to be any signs of that by next season.
Well, they're going to be asking a lot to turn it around that quickly.
1-2 pitch is a fly ball into right field. And Piscotty makes the catch for out number 2. One of the newest inductees heading into the Cardinals Hall of Fame will be Terry Moore. Center fielder, mid-30s, and then finished up in the late 1940s. 4-time All-Star, and he was the captain.
During
Terry
some
Moore.
Very good years in the 40s, including the World Series that you see.
He was with those championship teams in 42 and 46. In 44, he was serving our country. Ouch. This is Daniel Murphy at the plate, hopping around after that foul ball. And the count is no balls and 2 strikes. My understanding is when Mr. DeWitt made the call to Joe Torre, Joe was not only incredibly excited, but very emotional about it. Very, very excited to come to St. Louis. He had set that aside and wants to be here.
The way I heard it, he was hoping for it. So he knew all about it. He knew about the voting and all the terrific, really, competitors for that. When you get the fan voting, you had Isringhausen and Scott Rowland and Renteria and other really good Cardinals, but Joe Torre makes a lot of sense, and he appreciates the honor.
Soft hands again by Matt Adams, and Leake has a 1-2-3. Cardinals Hall of Fame class of 2016. Player, manager, former MVP, .363 his average back in 1971.
Without an infield hit, I'm sure.
That's what you're telling me. He didn't run all that well.
I didn't say that, but I inferred it.
Really good class. Sam Braden, Terry Moore, Joe Torre, and Chris Carpenter. That'll be August 27th. My understanding also is that when they finally got in touch with Chris Carpenter, he also was fairly emotional about the selection and extremely surprised, but very honored and excited to be a part of it and to set aside that weekend and part of that celebration. There's a strikeout of Jed Jerko. BJC Healthcare difference maker, and the Cardinals are rolling along offensively, but not tonight.
Really historic numbers for the Cardinals. The 6.23 runs per game. Go back to 1962. They scored 8 runs per game in April.
Strasburg has struck out 5 of the last 6 he has seen.
And he's found his changeup. That's what he got Jerko on, and Grichuk. The changeup can be devastating for him when it's right.
There's the breaking ball to Diaz, who is lined out to center field and also flied out to right with 2 runners on. Cardinals had a great opportunity in that first inning to get at Strasburg beyond just the 2 runs. The 1-1.
There's the changeup, and it's a hard one. He's throwing at 88 to 90 miles an hour, and the bottom just drops out of it. Diaz in the hole here has been very tough to strike out, but not there. Again, the changeup.
Well, it's no surprise when you see Strasburg strike out a lot of hitters, because look at this. This is all-time strikeouts per 9. Randy Johnson, then Steven Strasburg, Mark Pryor, Kerry Wood, Chris Sale, and Pedro Martinez. Minimum 100 starts. And a pitch to Eric Fryer is taken for a ball. I guess outside is what Strasburg is trying to figure out as well. Does he not look bigger to you now than he did, let's say, even 2 years ago? He looks strong.
Looks like he's filled out, yes. Always thought of him as just incredibly tall and thin, and you wouldn't describe him that way now. Legs are bigger. A little more barrel-chested.
Good breaking ball, and it's 1-2. Trying to strike out the side in back-to-back innings. And it's a count of 2 balls, 2 strikes on Eric Fryer. It's a sliding catch in right by Bryce Harper. Then a base hit to left. That was in the 4th. What a start here for Eric Fryer. 7 for 10. Strikes out the side. We head to the 7th. Steven Strasburg dominant here tonight. 30,000 fans ages 16 and older collect their very own wearable 1946 World Series championship replica ring. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Cardinals won the World Series back at 46 over the Boston Red Sox. Stan the Man hit .365 that year. Enos Slaughter hit .300. Harry Burkeen was a 15-game winner. That's all coming up on May 6th here at the ballpark. So Mike Leake is pitching into the 7th inning. He ties up Jason Worth. You mentioned the changeup of Steven Strasburg. You get a look at Matt Bowman, and that was a dominant pitch last inning.
All 3 strikeouts on the changeup, 4 in a row. And 7 of the last 8 Cardinal batters have struck out. And he's in a groove right now. Worth is not in a groove right now. You mentioned how well he hits Leake, but he just does not seem to have his normal stroke right now.
Mike Leake is due up first for the Cardinals, looking ahead to the bottom of this 7th inning. It's good to see Leake pitching into the 7th inning. Steven Strasburg, though, on the other side has been dominant. Now time is called. Leake has struck out 2 tonight. He has walked 1. He's given up 2 home runs. The inning that plagued him tonight was inning number 4 when he gave up 4 runs.
You'd have to assume if you gave up just 4 hits and 6 innings of work that you'd be on the plus side. Unfortunately, they bunched him in that 4th.
Fly ball into left center field. Grichuk on the move. Oh, what a catch! Randall Grichuk in left center field.
A long way to go for Randall Grichuk, and he times it perfectly. There's the jump. He takes the right route. He checks the left fielder Holiday, then lays out. Gold Glover in the minor leagues, plays a good center field, and I think you can add that to Brian Pena's list of great Danny Mac calls. He's probably going to go home and listen to that and relive that catch in that moment.
You know, in the rain delay the other day, he made that catch in the 1st inning that was over the wall against the Cubs. There's a fly ball lifted to Holiday near the line. And Randall told me he saw it about 50 times during the delay. And why not?
Well, you have to help in some way. If you're not swinging the bat well, you can't let that affect your defense.
It's 9 in a row set down by Leake after the 2-run homer from Danny Espinosa back in the 4th. Little flare, and it is a fair ball. Drops in. I mean, you talk about hitting it where they're not, or saying hitting them where they ain't. Well, that's what just happened there. Diaz, nothing he could do. Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, Feeding Missouri, and the St. Louis Cardinals are teaming up to hit a home run against hunger. Sunday, May 1st, that's this weekend. Fans who bring a non-perishable food item to the ballpark and Ballpark Village from 10 until 1:30. Receive a voucher for 2 free tickets to an upcoming home game here at Busch Stadium.
No offense intended to Jose Lobaton, but I'm just going to call that the worst base hit in the history of organized baseball.
Wow.
Is that too strong?
That's pretty strong. I'm not sure I'd go that far.
Hey, he's happy with it. He's lined out a bunch of times. I mean, he got a jam sandwich, and he hit it right to where the third baseman's supposed to be and isn't. And it just barely got to the third base bag.
But the worst hit in organized baseball?
I'm going to say since the late 1800s, this is number 1. I mean, his thumb's hurt. He's got a lot of spin on it.
He's got no feeling in one of his hands. What a statement there from my partner tonight. The worst hit in organized baseball.
And I'm including Little League, I mean organized, not just MLB, just organized baseball.
Backyard wiffle ball?
That's unorganized. Mostly. No, wait a minute. I remember the hit you got at fantasy camp. I retract my statement.
You know what? Is McCarver available tonight? Where's Al? Al, come on over. Jimmy in town this week.
You're stuck with me, brother.
Nice play, Randall Grichuk. Time to stretch. We love you, Ricky. Honda home run inning. Cardinals player hits a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. How about Steven Strasburg here? He has struck out 7 of the last 8 he has seen. He's got a total of 9 tonight. He's done this already 39 times in his career, 9 or more strikeouts.
He certainly found his groove with the changeup. The Cardinals have 3 more shots at the Nationals. Really like to get Strasburg out of this game, frankly.
It's back, Cardinal fans. The refreshing taste of the frozen strawberry lemonade. It's available all summer long, and it's only at McDonald's.
Hazel Baker will pinch hit to lead things off in the 7th inning for Mike Leake, so his night is over. Cardinals batting .381 as pinch hitters with 7 home runs and 13 RBIs. That's unheard of.
So Mike Leake gives the Cardinals 7 innings tonight, just 5 hits, 2 balls and no strikes. And it's a base hit. It's a short stroke by Jeremy Hazelbaker.
I think that's a good observation. When the stroke is right for Hazelbaker, it's short. He went through an 0 for 17 where he started to get a little long and his bottom half was floating a bit, but there's a nice approach. Hands to the ball. Seems like the fastball is the best pitch to hit right now against Strasburg. Breaking pitch is nasty. The changeup unhittable.
Carpenter struck out back in the 4th with 2 runners on. He is grounded out and also singled and scored back in the 1st. Carpenter with a high fly ball in a deep right field. Harper is back near the wall and makes the catch.
We've been talking about the balls being juiced. I guess this one wasn't. I thought this might leave the ballpark. I think Harper thought the same thing as he raced to the wall. Got there in time.
So that's 2 hard hit balls here against Steven Strasburg. His pitch count at 99. And now it's Stephen Piscotty. You hear the crowd cheering. And the reason why the Blues have scored. Wonder if Max Scherzer has to explain to all his teammates, hey guys,
What's going on?
This is why they're cheering. And they're not booing. Popped up right side. Long way to go for Daniel Murphy in foul territory. Wow.
Like he overran this a little bit. The ball's back over his head. Tried to reach backwards to get it. Now you've got to make that hurt. Ball should have been caught. th pinch hit for the Cardinals.
It's an incredible number. That's what you'd get maybe in 3 months.
Agreed. Honestly, if your on base percentage is 300, you hit 250, 260 as a pinch hitter, I think you're doing a good job because you're typically guy cold off the bench. Often it's against a closer or an 8th inning specialist, and it's not an easy job to do.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Piscotty hits it to short. Out at second, the turn, and it's a double play. 6-4-3. To the pen, and Matt Bowman will take over for Mike Leake. Leake, 7 innings, 5 runs, 5 hits, struck out 2, walked 1, and gave up a pair of home runs. Hyundai pitch arsenal on Matt Bowman.
Going to get a lot of fastballs from Matt Bowman, and they are of the sinking variety. He has a long arm action and is a guy that can get a lot of double plays. And he is earning more close and late situations as the season progresses.
First pitch to start the 8th is taken by Michael Taylor inside for ball 1. Taylor, a leadoff home run to start the game back in the first inning. Grounded to short, lined out to short.
Bullpen has been a strength for the Cardinals. Soon-Won Oh has been almost unhittable at times. Broxton keeps getting better. Rosenthal's been good in the 9th. And Bowman's starting to establish himself as a force from the right side. This could be a strength all season long. Teams that win have good bullpens.
3-2 pitch. And a ground ball again to short. Diaz slings it over to first. All nurses report to Busch Stadium stat. Thursday, May 19th, it's Nurses Night here at the ballpark, and with a purchase of this special theme ticket, fans receive a special edition Cardinals scrub top. So get your Nurses Night tickets right now at cardinals.com/theme.
Did you say stat?
Right there. That's where it says it.
That's what I thought you said.
Cardinals scrub top. May 19th. Two-0 the count on Anthony Rendon. Single to right back in the 4th. Stole a base, scored a run. Ground ball hit to Jed Jerko. And Bowman has gotten the first 2.
There's Bob Carpenter on the right, former Cardinal broadcaster. P. Santangelo, his partner on the TV side for the Nationals. Always good to see Bob. Grew up watching Cardinal baseball. In fact, worked at the ballpark when he was in high school. Was one of the ushers at one point in Old Busch Stadium.
2 outs and nobody on. Here's Bryce Harper. Harper is 0 for 3 tonight. Quite the test here for Matt Bowman. Rule 5 pickup, and now he's got the reigning MVP.
I think there's a test of ability, and there's also a test of nerves a little bit. When you're a rookie, you still get that amped up feeling when you realize, wow, I'm pitching to Bryce Harper. You'd think by now he's comfortable as a big leaguer, third week into the season, but still pretty exciting to have this moment for him.
And he walked him on 4 straight. Talked about it a little bit earlier, but the last Hall of Fame inductee to take a look at is Chris Carpenter. Pitched with the Cardinals from 04 through 12. 10 postseason wins. That is a franchise record. 7th most in Major League history. Won the Cy Young in 05 as he beat out Roger Clemens. He's a 3-time All-Star and won a couple of world championships in St. Louis.
Perfect picture for
Yeah.
Chris Carpenter. I mean, the intensity that he brought to the game.
John Mozeliak was asked to comment on Carpenter at the time. It wasn't announced that he had made the Hall of Fame, and they asked him, well, just give us your thoughts on Chris Carpenter. He said he's probably the most competitive guy I know. If they were playing wiffle ball, he and his kids, he'd try to strike them out too. That pretty much sums it up. Worked for the Cardinals briefly after he retired, but now is focused on some different endeavors in his private life, and at some point wants to come back to the game of baseball. Never forget 2011 and what he did against the Phillies in that Game 5 against Roy Halladay. It's one of the best baseball games we've ever seen, as he went the distance. I also think about him with the baseball in his glove and diving towards first base in the postseason, and that slow shot that we have of Carpenter going in. But his reaction after Game 5 is priceless. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Ryan Zimmerman, taken low and outside.
That Halladay game is really classic Cardinal game, made even more classic by the fact that he and Halladay were such good friends, competing against each other.
Used to go on vacations in the offseason with their families together. Here's a 2-1 pitch by Matt Bowman. Runner goes. Fryer to second. Look at that. He gets Harper, who's trying to steal his 6th base. So congratulations to Chris Carpenter. And there's that shot, diving into the bag at first base. Reminder, we have Missouri Lottery Blues Live, the post-game show tonight following Cardinals baseball. We'll have coverage of Game 1, the second round against Dallas. Fans watching baseball and watching Blues hockey over at Fox Sports Midwest Live. Huge crowd tonight, over 45,000, a sellout. And Blake Treinen takes over for the Nationals out of their pen. Slow chopper hit towards third. Rendon to first and safe. Throw is wide and Holiday on his way to second.
That should be scored a hit and an error. Cardinals happy that Strasburg is out of this game. Tough play. The throw up the line a bit, and Zimmerman not able to get a glove on it.
It's a 3-hit night for Holiday. And here is Adams. Base hit to left and an RBI in the first. Fly to right, struck out.
103 pitches for Strasburg with all the strikeouts is why he's out. As we look at the numbers for Treinen. You mentioned earlier, Papelbon is their closer.
Inside. Treinen is a 27-year-old from Osage City, Kansas. Originally drafted by the A's, 7th round, 2011. Before the 13 season, A's traded him to the Nationals, part of a 3-team deal. Made a start in spring training against the Cardinals. He's got a really good sinker. And against right-handers, he got 80% ground balls a year ago. But he can be a little bit wild. 4 walks per 9 last season. Say he has a plus slider, but that slider sometimes ineffective against the left-handed batters. A pitch at 96. Strasburg strikes out 9 in 7 innings here tonight. Gives up 8 hits and 2 runs. Adams swinging on 3-0.
There's that sinking action. Actually pulled that one across the plate a bit.
The 3-1 pitch. Adams hits it the other way. It's well hit. Worth is back and it's gone. Home run, Matt Adams, opposite way. His second of the year, and it's 5-4.
A 3 RBI night for Matt Adams. Sinker grip. Down and away, and that's where the bat of Matt Adams was. He took it the other way. Good power for Adams, and Mike Matheny had a feeling about him. He thought he was just about locked in, and he's had a good night. 2 for 4.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. Grichuk pops it up in foul territory, and the catch made by Zimmerman. And Grichuk is now 0 for his last 15. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's Jed Jerko.
This is where you have to think ahead if you're a manager. You're within 1 run, and it could happen in a hurry. Base hit, home run, all of a sudden you're going to the 9th and your closer has to be ready. So Rosenthal is up. Always have to be thinking about your lineup, who you have available. Both managers doing that. Baker's thinking about the 9th. How long does he go with Trinan here in the 8th? So Soon Hwan Oh and Rosenthal.
And Jerko is down on strikes. Plaza Tire Service with our last pitch.
Pitch had good late movement, really cut the heart of the plate. Jerko read that as a pitch that was going to move away from him, and it came back over the heart of the plate.
Diaz is 0 for 3. Fly to right, lined out to center, and then struck out. Fastball at 96. Nothing fancy about trying it. Very simple to delivery.
No, I don't know. I'd call 96 pretty fancy.
Pretty hard. He's bringing it. This guy's got good stuff. 1-2 pitch.
Your point's a good one, though, Dan. You think about young pitchers, you think you have to do all kinds of things with your mechanics to generate velocity. And the velocity comes from arm speed. It's not bringing your hands over your head. It's not taking a big step back or side. It's just very simple in his case of having good arm speed and strength. But his mechanics very simple. Turn and throw.
Little bouncer to third. The Cardinals get a 2-run homer from Matt Adams, and this is our Nissan drive of the game. An opposite field homer. 3 RBIs on the night. He had 3 coming in. The Nissan drive of the game. Hongo, thank you. 5-4 Washington. 2-run homer by Adams. Seung-Hwan Oh has been outstanding this year. His bullpen has been as good as any in Major League Baseball. First man we'll see is Ryan Zimmerman. And a fly ball off the end of the bat, lifted into shallow right center. Grichuk went away.
And in honor of Pat Paris leaving Fox Sports Midwest today, his last post-game show, I want to remind Pat that Ryan Zimmerman went to the University of Virginia. Just for you, Pat. You were waiting for that, weren't you?
IL. 2 pitches, 2 strikes as that's hit out of play. Hey, Al.
Al's really
there
working. There he is.
Yeah. All right, Al. The 0-1. Change up outside.
The big city has made this game very tight, very interesting. And he gets the Cardinals closer to thrilling bottom of the 9th, perhaps. Good to see him drive the ball. You know the power's there. We've seen it.
2-1 pitch. Oh, at 19 strikeouts this year. And a fly ball lifted into left field. There's Holiday. 2 outs.
Cardinals don't really need Seung-Hwan Oh to pitch in the 9th inning. Rosenthal does a pretty nice job of that. But if you ever needed somebody to pitch in the 9th inning, I don't know why you'd hesitate to put him in there.
Ricky now has faced 47 hitters. He's given up 3 hits. Here's Jason Worth. 2 outs and nobody on. That ball moved.
Well, he's not the final boss for the Cardinals, but he's the 8th inning boss.
And an 0-1 pitch. Up the middle and a base hit. A 2-out hit for Jason Worth.
It's a slider and he hits it right on the nose, just past O. Throws up the glove, but that ball did not have a lot of spin on it off the bat. You could tell how squarely he hit it.
Here's Danny Espinosa. 2-run homer back in the 4th. It was 102 miles an hour off the bat. Pitch taken low. Cardinals bullpen has thrown the 5th fewest innings in baseball, and that is a key when you think about the long haul of a season in 6 months. If you can make sure that your starters go fairly deep into games, your bullpen is fresh, or at least somewhat fresh towards the end of the year. The average at home against the relievers here at Busch Stadium is under 200. It's at 198. And you take away 1 game in Arizona, which was the first game in which the bullpen got rocked a little bit. The ERA was close to 1. So any way you want to look at it, it's been very good.
there's something about having a balanced bullpen that pays those dividends you're talking about down the road. It's also true when you've got a lot of players that are contributing and staying fresh and moving guys in and out of the lineup. And you may not win every battle, but the idea is over the course of time to set yourself up for a good second half, to have maybe some arms down in AAA that have been developed, or even AA that have been developed to help you, a position player here and there. I mean, it's a long season. And yes, you want to win every night. I mean, you do. You want to win every night. But you also want to set yourself up for the long haul.
Three and one the count on Espinosa. That's ripped into right field. Piscotty can't come up with it. He was playing deep in right, and it's a base hit. Back-to-back hits against O.
Piscotty's defense has been good, very good. And he saves a run right there by getting a glove on the ball and making sure it doesn't get past him into the wall. For a moment, I wasn't sure whether he was sure whether or not he was going to try to dive for that or lay back on it, but he gave it a shot. Fortunately, the ball didn't get past him.
Jose Lobaton. 1 for 3 tonight. Cardinals have Eric Fryer, O spot, and Carpenter coming up. O trying to make sure this stays a 1-run lead for the Nationals. Matchup tomorrow afternoon, Jaime Garcia and Joe Ross. Ross is the younger brother of Tyson Ross of the Padres. And Jaime 4-1 in his career against the Nationals. 0-1 pitch. 1-1. And a fly ball lifted into left center. There is Grichuk. National strand 2. We head to the bottom of the 9th. It's a 5-4 Washington lead. Budweiser, this Bud's for you. by your local Volkswagen dealer. And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Quality, reliability, and value. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. A 5-4 Washington lead. We've got the postgame coming up with Pat and Hungo, and also Blues Live coming up as well right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Chevy call to the pen takes us to Jonathan Papelbon, the closer of the Nationals.
7 saves on the season for Papelbon, and you've got to give some credit to Mike Leake, Matt Bowman, and Soon Won Oh for keeping the Cardinals close enough for this bottom of the ninth.
And Cole Wong is your pinch hitter. Cardinals down by a run. Papelbon has appeared in 13 games against St. Louis, 7 of 8 in save opportunities. 2 balls and no strikes. The blown save was the first time that he saw the Cardinals back in 2008. The 2-0 pitch to Wong. Make it 3-0.
Ooh, I'm not sure that was a strike.
Remember the tail end of last year, Papelbon and Harper got into it. Highly publicized, and they say it's over. 3-1 pitch. And that is a ball. So the Cardinals have the tying run on, and the winning run will come to the plate in Brandon Moss. And this is where he's been sensational in this role. Remember, Moss against Washington just a year ago had a walk-off home run hit to center field. The first pitch to Moss.
This is why you like having power off your bench for moments like this. In years past, the Cardinals have had good utility players on their bench, but not players that if you throw them up there in the bottom of the ninth, trailing by a run with a guy on, you don't really think there's hope for them to be game changers. But with Moss, you have that hope.
Here's the 0-1. Two saves away from going into 10th place on the all-time list for Jonathan Papelbon. Moss hits it towards second base, out there on to first, and it's a double play. Big double play for 6-3. Kubota power stats. National League home run leaders: Arenado, Harper, Story, Walker, all with 9, Rizzo with 8. Here is Carpenter, who flied out to the wall in right. The final hope for St. Louis.
We had hopes for power from Brandon Moss, but he rolls over this pitch, hits it to the right side. The Nationals very quick turning this. There's the strong arm, very strong arm of Espinoza to complete that double play.
One ball, one strike. Steven Strasburg, our Budweiser player of the game, 9 strikeouts in his 7 innings of work tonight. He's trying to improve to 4-0. 1 ball, 1 strike on Carpenter.
That double play certainly took energy out of this ballpark. But if Carpenter can reach base, perhaps that energy will return.
Trying to extend the game to Piscotty. The 2-1 pitch. Carpenter a ground ball, and this should do it. The Nationals take game 1. Papelbon finishes it off. 5-4 the final.
Well, the Cardinals battled in the 9th inning, thought they might have a chance here to sneak this game out. The 2-run 8th inning. The Matt Adams home run made it interesting, but unfortunately it was too much Steven Strasburg in this game. Very, very good start, and he goes to 4-0.
Nationals now 15-7, and St. Louis 12-11. 5-4 the final. Post-game show comes your way next.